One fundamental concept of Piaget's related to his sensory motor stage is object permanence. Object permanence is the understanding that objects exist independently of oneself, actions, and thoughts toward them. Infants develop a full understanding of object permanence around 18 months, according to Piaget. So by 18 months, infants begin to talk and gesture, and this is evidence of their capacity to use symbols. So now infants can begin to anticipate the consequences of mental rather than just physical actions. So let's talk a little bit more about object permanence. Why is it important to study object permanence? Well, just like that kind of funny video shows you, the world would be a pretty confusing place if you didn't understand that objects persist in time even when out of view. Where's my mom? Where's my blanket? Where did everyone go? But object permanence is about the unobservable. So this is tricky then. So how can we ever learn about that? So let's talk about what Piaget thought about object permanence. Again, it's an understanding that objects continue to exist when out of sight. He thought that object permanence was revealed when an infant would go and retrieve a hidden object. He thought that object permanence was not innate, but rather it was acquired through experience. He thought that there were stages to object permanence, but that it wasn't fully complete or understood until about 2 years of age. So that's Piaget on object permanence. Other theorists have really challenged Piaget's view. So again, Piaget says infants under 9 months do not search for hidden objects because he believed that they lacked the knowledge of object permanence. But other researchers really started to question this. They thought, well, maybe infants just don't really have the abilities necessarily to go and search for a hidden object. If they're not walking, maybe they don't, they can't actually physically even get over there to search for a hidden object. So many studies suggest that infants display a wide array of understandings much earlier than Piaget believed. So what we know now is that Piaget actually seemed to really underestimate the abilities of young children. So more current theorists say that children are much more advanced in their thinking than Piaget suggested. So René Ballerjan really wanted to ask this question: does out of sight necessarily equal out of mind for young babies, which is what Piaget thought. So René Ballerjan believed that infants do have this concept of object permanence, that they just lack the knowledge or the ability to act on one object as a means of retrieving another. So infants really cannot perform a means-end sequence because, they'd have to remove a cloth from a toy that's been covered up. So even though they know the toy is still there, maybe they're not able to remove it. So one method that Ballerjan used to challenge Piaget's theory is this violation of expectation method. So the idea here is that infants will give heightened attention to an event that is unexpected. So if their expectation has been violated, they'll stare at it longer because they're not as used to it. So this really allows then researchers to study what an infant knows, because obviously we can't ask them because they can't talk, but what we could do is look at their looking time. So if infants are looking longer at a certain situation, this suggests that they're kind of surprised by it, that it's deviating from what they consider to be the norm. They're trying to make sense of it. They're trying to become more aware of this aspect in this physical world that they didn't yet understand. So this is a method that she has used in her lab. So in studies using the violation of expectation method, and there's a video that I'm posting that I'd like you to look at based on her lab, and it can really help you understand this violation of expectation method. But in these studies, her collaborators claim to have found evidence for object permanence in just the first few months of life. So additional violation of expectations studies suggest that infants look longer at a wide variety of unexpected events involving hidden objects. So Baillargeon found that 3.5-month-olds and 4.5-month-olds can represent hidden objects, and children are sensitive to hidden objects at just 3.5 months of life. They just fail to retrieve them until 8 or so months old. So what this shows is that, yes, Piaget really did underestimate the abilities of young infants.